Hello, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Wesley Boudreau, one of the financial advisors here with the Retirement Group. Today I'm going to go over the Chevron pension lump sum and update you on the interest rates associated for July and August of 2020. But before we get started, if anybody has any questions or wants to run an updated cash flow analysis or simply reach us, you can call us at 1-800-900-5867. And don't forget to look us up on the web at theretirementgroup.com. As well as go to our Chevron landing page where we have the entire retirement guide for you as well. Now, for those of you that have not worked with the Retirement Group before or been to one of our seminars or sat down with us one-on-one or talked on the phone, we are a financial advisory firm. We're independent. We are fiduciaries. And we've been working for the last 30 years or so with corporate employees, helping them transition to retirement. So one of our key focuses is, again, making sure we understand your benefits plans between the medical, the pension, the 401k, life insurance, and making sure that we catch you prior to retirement, so that way we can help you with that transition process so you don't make any mistakes, don't leave any money on the table, and help you determine the best day to retire so you maximize the financial benefits, and then kind of help you along the emotional side as well. Now, we do have offices throughout the country, so depending upon where you decide to retire, if you want to stay put or move elsewhere, chances are we do have you taken care of. One of the biggest things you need to take us up on is our complimentary financial analysis. That's something that we do pride ourselves in because we take a look at it from a very conservative standpoint. And our goal there is to help you determine, again, that right day to retire and help you figure out the best way to maximize your benefits. And then that can also lead us into help you manage the portfolio if you need help with that as well. At the end of the day, obviously, we'd love to work with you. So hopefully you throw our hat in the ring. But if you do have working with somebody else, we still recommend just sharing our information with others if you think we can help them out as well. So when we talk about transitioning to retirement for Chevron employees, there's really three sources of income you're going to be looking at. There's your Social Security, which can be taken as early as age 62 generally, or deferred up to age 70. Now, we do have a full Social Security analysis we can run for you if you want to look at all the different claiming strategies associated with that. So just let me know. The other option is going to be your 401k. That's your deferred compensation plan, in which case you and Chevron make contributions over the course of your career, and that's going to go up or down based upon the investments. But once you do retire, you're able to tap into that to supplement your income if you need it. What we're going to talk about today is going to be the pension plan, which is a defined benefit plan, in which case the actual benefit is defined, and it's up to Chevron solely to make those contributions and run that calculation to determine what you're going to get for the rest of your life or what you could get in a lump sum. In addition to that, depending upon if there's offers, you may have a severance package for up to a year or so, or you may decide to work during retirement, and we can look at those figures as well. But if you are a Chevron employee, chances are you may have started out with Chevron, or you could have been Texaco, Caltex, Gulf, and not Standard, that's a little bit farther back, or maybe Unocal. So there's multiple companies that could be part of the Chevron plan, but the key thing to understand is that we've worked with all these. So there are some various retirement plans, whether it's the Legacy Chevron, the Legacy Texaco, the Caltex, the Unocal, or even some subsidiaries of that, like the Getty plan, or if you worked overseas. There's a lot of different options there. But for the bulk of it, most of them are very similar in the way they calculate it. So we're not going to go into that right now. We're going to go into more what the distribution options are, and then talk about the lump sum option, which a lot of people are looking at now, and how the interest rates affect that. So the defined benefit plan is a calculation where it looks at your average your average final pay, your years of service, and a multiplier to determine how much you're going to get on a single life annuity. So let's say they run the calculation, it comes out that you're going to get $5,000 a month for the rest of your life. Now that's going to pay you out as long as you live, but as soon as you pass away, it's going to cease. Now you could look at other annuity options where you can add a period certain for 5, 10, 15, or 20 years, so at least you know a certain amount is coming out. That would drop that $5,000 down a little bit, though, since there's a guarantee on it now. Or if you're married, have a significant other, you can look at the joint and survivor annuity, where you can get a 100%, 75, 50% continuation or so. So that way, if something happens to you, your beneficiary would continue to get payments for the rest of his or her life. The uniform code is something that's a little bit different, in which case you'll get the same amount of payments before and after Social Security. So let's say that $5,000 was the exact figure. and then Social Security came in and it started paying you $1,000 a month, then Chevron would drop the pension down to $4,000, so that the two combined would maintain $5,000 for the rest of your life. Now, there's no cost of living adjustment associated with those, and it's backed by the paying ability of Chevron. So a lot of people do lean towards the lump sum option, which is where they take a look at interest rates and your age and determine how much do they have to give you for you to try and create the same amount of income for the rest of your life. Now, when interest rates are lower, then that means it's going to be more money they need to give you in order to generate that income. Now, before we get into kind of the lump sum interest rates and where they are right now, one determining factor as to how much you're going to get from that pension is going to be the discount factor based upon your age upon retirement. In order to get 100% of your pension, you pretty much are looking at age 60 and above. If you take a look at this chart here, it's based upon your age and years of service. So most people are going to be over 55 points. So if you look at the far right column, let's say somebody who's 60, they're going to get 100% of their pension, whether it be the annuity or the lump sum. If you decide to retire or take your pension earlier, it's going to be essentially about a 5% reduction each year. So in this chart, we've got highlighted somebody who's 55 years old. They would actually be getting 75% of their pension. Now, you can retire at 55 and actually defer your pension out another year and actually get 80% if you want, or defer it all the way to age 60 to get the 100%. Now, however, if you're looking at the lump sum, again, keep in mind you have to look at the opportunity cost of whether you take that lump sum early and invest it versus if you let that age out and get that 5% guarantee each year. Now, if you do allow it to defer, interest rates become kind of a factor, and if interest rates go up, it could actually erode that and offset the discount or the age penalties you're looking at. So let's talk about interest rates. As I mentioned before, the lower the interest rates are, the higher your lump sum is going to be. And we've actually been declining over the last year, and we're at record lows for the Chevron pension plan as far as interest rates are concerned, which means we're at record highs for the lump sums that we're seeing as well. So again, when interest rates go down, your lump sum is going to go up. When interest rates go up, your lump sum is going to go down. So if you take a look at this graph here, or the table here, this is going to give you what the actual interest rates are for somebody who's commencing their benefit in July. They take a look at the average of the third, fourth, and fifth prior month and look at the segment rates to determine what those interest rates are. So the July rates are going to be 1.84% for the first segment, 2.89% for the second segment, and 3.44% for the third segment. Now those segments are, the first one is for the first 5 years of retirement, the second is for years 6 through 20, and the third is for years 21 and beyond. For the most people we work with, the bulk of your calculation is going to run off that second segment, so it's better to keep an eye on that, and how that moves is going to have a greater effect on what your pension is doing. So if you look below there, that May of last year, the interest rates for the second segment was actually at about 4.23%. So we've come down over 1.3% over the last year or so. And generally speaking, a 1% drop or increase affects your lump sum by anywhere from 8 to 12%, depending upon your age. So a good rule of thumb is just remember 1% equals 10% roughly. So in this case, that drop of 1.3% or so means that a lot of you have actually seen about a 13% bump in your lump sum over the last year. So if you had $1 million lump sum before, it could be $1,130,000 right now. Now, unfortunately, the opposite kind of rings true if we start to see interest rates rise, which we will eventually. It's just a matter of how quickly it happens and when does it start happening again. You'll start to see that drop. So if interest rates go up by 1% over the next year or two, that $1 million could drop down to $900,000. So if you are looking at retiring soon, it's definitely worth looking at a review to determine whether or not, if interest rates move, if you should go sooner rather than later, because it could erode. You could essentially be working for a free or reduced amount because you could be losing that money in the pension. Now they've just updated the rates for May, which will generate what August is going to be. So if again we look at this, July was 2.89 for that midterm, and then for August it's actually going up ever so slightly to 2.91%. So that 2.89 is the record. 2.91% is pretty close. But on the short-term segment, the first segment, the interest rates actually came down a little bit to 1.63. So between July and August, we'd have to run the actual calculation, but it's going to be kind of neck and neck, determining what your lump sum would be. So either month is going to be good for you if you were already retired and looking to defer, or if you're looking at retiring soon, or maybe looking at EOI around the corner. So hopefully rates stay low like this, but if they start to spike, we can take a look at things for you and run an update. So it's always good to update that cash flow analysis to see where you stand now versus what's going to happen on a month-to-month basis as interest rates do move. Now, as far as running that plan, roughly about 3/4 of Americans don't actually have a financial plan. So again, take us up on that complimentary offer. It should take about 5 to 10 minutes on the phone just to gather some data from you. And we can run that cash flow analysis and get that back to you in a few days and set some time to go over that. Now, if you've run one with us in the past and it's been over a year, given the market changes and interest rate changes, I highly recommend we update that for you as well. So again, just feel free to circle back to us and let us know. We'll be happy to run that for you. Now, in the end, obviously, we'd love to work with you. If you're working with somebody else, that's great. We do recommend getting a second opinion. We actually recommend our clients do that every few years as well, just to keep us on our toes. But if you are working with somebody, make sure they do understand your benefits plans between the pension, healthcare, the 401k, so that they can help make sure you don't make any mistakes as you transition to retirement. Make sure you understand their fee structure. Again, we are independent. We are fiduciaries. All of our fee structures are transparent. We're not a one-size-fits-all where everybody goes into the same cookie-cutter approach. Our goal is to run that cash flow analysis to determine what it is you need to achieve and figure out how to do that with as low risk as possible, and ultimately probably present 2 or 3 different options to you and go over the pros and cons with those and help you determine the best fit or combination of options. And again, just make sure you're working with an experienced team. Make sure it's not just one person. You need that experience behind them to kind of back them up as well. And again, make sure you run that cash flow analysis and make sure it's a conservative cash flow analysis and not something that's too optimistic. Our goal is, again, to not necessarily be pessimistic, but be as conservative as possible so we make sure that if it survives our cash flow analysis, your retirement is going to be in good shape. So with that, I want to wrap it up and again thank everybody for taking time out of their day to join us. So if you do want to update that cash flow analysis or have any questions about keeping up to date on the pension rates or even a 401k review, give us a call at 1-800-900-5867. And again, reach us at theretirementgroup.com and go ahead and write down that landing page for Chevron at the end where you can access that retirement guide as well. But again, I want to thank everybody for taking time, and I hope everybody stays safe and has a great day.